So welcome to the third episode of this show. And this episode is dedicated to the how. How do you get there? How do you get to the point where all the things that create emotional weight, stress, worry, anxiety, anger, how do you get to the point where you're Teflon and those things no longer bother you? How can you get to the point where your parents die and it's the most beautiful experience you've had in your life? And yes, there is a sense of loss, like this grayed out, but it lasts 3 weeks and you're back to high performing again. How do you get to the point where you can see everything your children need and you're able to remove all the obstacles that are causing them pain and stress so they can become their greatest selves? So the whole idea of this program is, how do you get there? And so I think the first thing you have to understand is that we are taught that everything that we think and everything we feel is real, and it's not. So basically, our thoughts, our head is just this huge processor that's designed to keep us alive. So our brain, just like it receives signals that, hey, we need more insulin, or we need more hormones, or we need this, or we need that, or, all the things that we need to do. Hey, we're running right now. Let's increase our oxygen input and output. Let's, the brain is designed to keep us alive. It is this huge processor, and it processes thoughts at a level of danger. So if there's something that is a threat, or if there's something that's going to harm you, or if there's something that you need to pay attention to, like you need fuel, you need to eat, your brain is going to elevate, chemicals, alarm chemicals, a little cocktail of chemicals that brings it to your attention. So you have thousands and thousands and thousands of thoughts in a day, like 60 to 70,000 thoughts on average, just flowing through all the time. And your brain is then sorting through all that massive database it's sorting through, and it's identifying the things that you need to pay attention to. And then based on the level of risk, it's going to release a cocktail. So if it's a threat, you're going to get cortisone. Your hippocampus is going to go on high alert, release a bunch of cortisone, a bunch of adrenaline, and you are going to go into either anger or fear or flight, depending on your programming, and it's not going to feel comfortable. And it's got a half-life. It'll disappear, but it's what happens is the brain is then obsessed with what's going on, and you kind of get into this circuit where the anger, fear is fueling it. And when you have something that's really upsetting, it's just, you can't let go of it. It's this feelings. So feelings, and whether they be bad feelings or they be good feelings or love, all of that, and love is something different. I shouldn't put love in the mix, but attraction, okay? Everything is just basically chemistry. It's, you have a thought, it releases a chemical cocktail, and that chemical cocktail then is the feeling you experience. So that's all it is. That's all it is. And it is totally unreliable. Okay, your brain, of everything you see, everything you're doing, it's doing so much at one time that it only actually sees in or takes about 40% of what's going on, and processing 40% of what's going on, and then telling you what you need to pay attention to based on the feelings. And feelings come in two ways. So there's genetic feelings, these genetic cocktails. So let's say you're stereotypical Irish hothead, or Italian, where you're really passionate and you get really angry and you really, these are hereditary cocktails that are coming in. Your thoughts, when these certain things happen, have been the degree of chemicals that is being released, the anger, the passion, the fiery, quick, hot-tempered, all it is that it's releasing these chemicals super fast, okay? And it's a lot. It's like drenching your system. Like, I should be so angry right now, And it, like I said, it's like got this half-life to it. If you just let it simmer and calm down, it would calm down, but it fuels itself and you get obsessed with it. And the same thing happens with worry. And so what happens is you come in with this base chemical cocktail, and then everything that happens in your life is like either reinforcing it, or programming it, like that's going to make me worry. That's going to hurt me. I'm going to avoid that, blah, blah, blah. And then, as you go through like maybe teens or as adolescents, if there's bullying, if there's isolation, if there's, if you're left out, that again creates these feelings. There's these feelings, these patterns, that are tied to everything. And then the worst thing now is social media, in that we've trained ourselves so quickly to judge. Like, the judgment has been fine-tuned to like this whole way our brain's working has been fine-tuned to good, bad, good, bad, good, bad, good, bad, hurt me, harm me, hate it, love it. And it's all been fine-tuned to this just ridiculous level of, and all it is chemicals. It is just chemicals. And it's, so your feelings aren't really feelings. They're just a dose of chemicals that's being released through your body. And once you start to realize that, so we live in this world where we feel like everything outside of us is causing us to feel bad, when in fact, it's completely neutral. Everything that happens to us is completely neutral. When it comes in, then the release is, do we feel good? Do we feel bad? Do we feel good? Do we feel bad? And so what happens is that you just really start to buy into this whole system that this person is making you feel this way. This job is making you feel this way. Everything is making you feel this way. Excuse me. And none of it's real. So, and that's why some people, things can happen to them and it just totally doesn't bother them. And then other people can happen and then it does. They're on fire and they won't let go of it and there's a whole new level of anxiety right now in the world. And it really is that, so back in the day, before social media, before the internet, before everything, only like the Hollywood actresses and actors and people that were like politicians, people that were in the public eye, they lived in a fishbowl and everything was judged. And they were under tremendous stress based on how other people are judging them. With social media today, everybody's in a fishbowl. Everybody is under this hyper scope. And then if somebody says something negative, because there's no holds bars, there's no rules, people, there's no etiquette. And people say things that are damaging and hurtful. And it doesn't matter how many wonderful things you get, that one damaging, hurtful thing is just sent you on a tailspin. And that you're starting to brew that anxiety and you're starting to brew how that fishbowl and how people perceive you and how, so it's like, it's a defunct system to start out with because it's really just designed to keep you alive and safe and procreating and nurturing your kids. And, it's the whole system's designed just to make life sustainable. And now it's got all these new elements in it and our brains aren't designed for it. But the beauty of all this is once you know that, that's 90% of it, is that, hey, I'm experiencing this. I don't want to experience it. I'm just going to look for the next thought. And that's what the whole program is about, is that you can step back, say, hey, I'm having quite an emotional reaction to this. I can feel all these chemicals going through my body. I don't want to feel like this. And the beauty of it, so like I talk about my family a little bit, but, I have a sister and she's always angry, and especially people that have hurt her in her past and she won't let go of it. And, I've talked to her about, hey, you know what? It really helps you when you let go of that. And she's like, no, I want my anger. I want to hold on to that anger. That anger is what fuels me. And you're like, oh my gosh, no. So anyway, but you don't have to be that way. And so what happens is you can actually completely retrain your body. So people that were just impossible to live with, it can become the most beautiful souls. People that were hotheads or fiery, or everybody can, you just start to see, and it's seeing that connection. It's seeing, hey, something triggered a thought that then triggered a feeling, and you just see that you can actually start to control it. And you're like, you have to understand that it's going to fuel itself. So you've got to distract yourself. So I have this wonderful friend, and he talks about in his house, he has younger children, and he talks about in his house, they have meltdown music. And so whenever the young family is starting to melt down, whether they're hungry or something's triggering that, or just, unfairness of life, that they start playing this music, and it totally distracts their brain, and it gets them back into that, it's recalibrating it, recalibrating the system, recalibrating the chemicals, recalibrating the hormones. And so it just resets the system. And so what you will figure out is, what are your best resets? Is it music? What do I need to distract my brain from being in this cycle, this churn, this thought spiral, what do I need to do to reset my brain to peace and quiet? You're pre-adulting, you're fun, happy, normal. That's your normal state. I'm not in my normal state. What do I have to do? Some people, it's laying on the ground, grounding. Some people, it's getting in nature, walking. Some people need to be near water. Some people need to be near fire. Some people, there's elements that trigger this peaceful, natural, calm state that then diffuses the chemicals that are going through your body. It could be music. It could be painting. It could just be animals. Animals like pets, dogs and cats, they can be a great reset and getting back to this pace, because they most of the time, if we're not dealing with anything outrageous as far as emotions in the pet, but most of the time they're a really great reset. Animals, fish, tying yourself back to nature, tying yourself back to this place is really what you need. And then what happens is you're going to just learn how to just, I feel angry. Oh, that upset me. And this is where the Teflon comes in, because all of a sudden it no longer bothers you. All the things that created trauma in my life, all the things that really hung on me and made me feel alienated or left out or bullied, those are all gone. They have no impact on me now. They have no weight on me. And it's just so cool, because what you realize is it's a system designed to keep you alive that's actually driving you crazy. Let's stop the nonsense. Let's stop this cycle. Let's use it the way it's supposed to be used, which is for higher alert, higher alarm, hey, danger. And then everything else is just neutral. A note from our sponsor. Yes, it's me again. Hire me for your leadership training to bring a creative culture into your business, or join me at a leadership workshop at treetops.com this fall. If you need a keynote speaker or you need an innovative workshop for your next conference, go to creativityunleashed.co and hire me. And so when you can get to that place where everything's neutral. And so the program is about all the resets. So the biggest reset for me is if something's really heavy, like let's say I lost a big client, I'm going to have to lay somebody off, or I'm going to have to restructure my company, and these things happen, they don't feel like you can deliver the services, or they think they need something else, which they don't. We're perfect. Anyway, but I see Nick smiling over here. So this happens using this program. So the whole idea is when something bad happens, you're immediately saying, this is not bad. This is just part of the journey. I'm supposed to learn something from this. What is the opportunity? And so by immediately flipping from the negative to a positive, let's look at it from an opportunity. What does this open up for us? What direction can we go in? If we can choose any client, what was wrong with this client that we hated doing this with this client? Okay, how can we learn from this? How can we not have this happen again? How can we be better? And how can we pivot? And then you go into brainstorming, and brainstorming is the most powerful thing, and we'll be dealing with the best ways to brainstorm. But you go into brainstorming and you just start churning all these ideas. How can we flip this? How can we flip this? How can we flip this? And what happens is this very negative weight, this very negative thing, it flips to the opportunity. And then it opens up all this super positive. You're going into brainstorming, you're in this place, you're tapping into this, and it opens up all this super positive energy. And it's like, and then the fundamental part of this, what would make me happy? Okay, I get to engineer my future. I get to design anything I want to have happen in my life. This thing that was actually draining me is gone. What do I want to replace it? Or where do I want to go? And then the miraculous thing that happens is you switch from this very negative energy, and I'm talking in 5 minutes, you can lose the weight of something terrible. And once you've mastered all this, and you can flip over to the positive, and then unbelievable things start to happen. And that's what these stories are going to be about. Like, it's almost like this positive energy just attracts all the right things, all the right opportunities. You get all the right ideas. You know what you're supposed to be doing, and you're head to toe goosebumps, and it's all working. And you're like, oh my gosh, life is not meant to be a struggle. And when you lift the mental burden, the mental suffering that we have, that we put on ourselves, the victim, and you flip it over to creator, oh my gosh, everything opens up like you would not believe. And so these stories are going to be, so that's basically how you do it. You know, you flip the negative to the positive, opportunities to brainstorming. You realize that every thought, every negative feeling you're having, everything that's extreme, you're cycling, you're in thought spirals, just, it's got a half-life to it. Just look for the next thought, do a reset. That's all that is. All of this, that's the whole program. But we're going to teach you how to best brainstorm. We're going to teach you how to use the best thing. And then we're going to have these amazing inspirational stories that say, yeah, I did this and this is what came from it. And so it's going to be very cool. So join me for the rest of the show. And it's going to be really cool. And please reach out to us, Underdogs Create. And just, you know, we'll answer all your questions. And please broadcast my alien theories out there, because I believe that's going to get the most clicks. And not that we're looking for clicks. We're looking to change the world. So one person at a time. Thank you.